So I just want to review some of the tricks right away that we've done, some of the bigger tricks. I'm going to kind of start with the big tricks, okay? So the big tricks, I would say, are the sequence of sauteing small, large, wet, fresh. Small being your ginger, your lemongrass, your garlic, your turmeric. Start with that, and then immediately put in your large. Your large can be your vegetables, meats, shrimp, tofu, or nothing. But if you don't put anything, actually it would have to be a large, otherwise you just have sauteed garlic, so that would be kind of silly. So small, large, wet, fresh. You would add a wet ingredient after the large, but only after it starts to brown. You're trying to create the Maillard reaction, and that's the browning. And actually it's creating this sequence of amino acid chains, and it's pretty neat. It's a cascading sequence. So then that's adding a wet ingredient when things have browned. Will keep it from burning, and you can think of that as adding a little broth to the bottom of your turkey pan to take off the what they call fond, F-O-N-D, which is the chunks on the bottom of your turkey pan. I will not refer to it as chunks, but that's what many people refer to it as. So you would add a liquid to pull the fond off, and in this case, you will add a liquid to pull the fond off your saute pan. Then add fresh at the end, which is going to be your herbs. You could also, if you don't have any herbs, you could put some slivered scallions on top, perhaps. Small, large, wet, fresh. In order to do that, the second trick is to have your mise en place. 3 words, mise en place. If you're a film buff, you've heard the term, it's mise en scène. So things in the scene. So mise en place means have all of your ingredients ready. So that when you do small, large, wet, fresh, right, you put that garlic in, you better have your mise en place ready so you can put your large ingredients or it's going to burn. And if you don't, the whole thing is out the window.
Now when we put our meat like in right with the
Sort of,
stuff,
right, yeah.
but that isn't meat wet?
No, meat is
It's
large.
big. Okay,
Yeah.
that's what
So
I.
that's a good question. The wet would be sugars, tomatoes, wines, and liquids.
Oh, sugar.
Sugar is a wet ingredient. Yeah, and with a baking, a baker puts very specific ratios of wet and dry with things, and sugar factors into the wets. Yeah, because you can melt it. So that is sort of the overarching concepts with the stir fry, except for one thing, and that would be not to overcrowd your pan. In fact, one group last week we had to do 2 stir fries because they had too much. Too much is a real Western, maybe not Western, but a real wealthy problem. We have too much. What a wonderful problem to have. So don't overcrowd your pan. You can do it twice in a row. Overcrowding your pan will keep the Maillard reaction from forming. So those are some of the bigger things. You don't need to over stir. So once you put your large in, you don't need to stir it immediately. You can let it keep cooking. When you start to see a little browning, then you can do your first stir. So that is a classic error because cooks like to stir. Stirring is cooking, right? Except it's really not good for creating that browning. So avoid stirring. So those are some of the bigger things I want to talk about. Some of the smaller things. I'm going to do a little bit of flour here. And highly seasoned flour is a big deal. It's what makes a kitchen, a professional kitchen taste better than a home kitchen. A little pepper, double the pepper. Highly seasoned. This is not just a casual. This would be really unpalatable. So salt, double the salt. Huge salt, huge pepper. And I'm going to add in some paprika because we'll be doing a kind of a mock Cajun. So a little paprika, then double the paprika. So we're going to make it really flavorful so that the shrimp, when the shrimp will only pick up a teeny bit of this. So on the crust of each shrimp, it's going to be a really delicious flavor.